Welcome to Ever Beyond on Wolf Spirit Radio. Be prepared to leave your belief systems behind as we go beyond teachers, beyond gurus, beyond duality, ever beyond, 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 beyond. And welcome once again to Ever Beyond. This is the second interview that I will be having, that I have. Oh, too many tense problems there. This is the second interview tonight with Tolec of the Andromeda Council. I'd see if I can... you didn't give me a short version, so I'm just going to read the first couple of paragraphs for those who missed it on the first show. Tolec is a human representative of the Andromeda Council, an intergalactic governance and development body of aligned benevolent star systems and planets for worlds in both the Milky Way, that's our galaxy, and Andromeda galaxies. The chaired members of the Andromeda Council comprise a total of 12 distinct representational council member races. Think of it like an intergalactic United Nations. He's been given the name Andromedan name Tolec, a public persona work name, by the 5 people with whom he communicates, who are stationed on the primary Andromeda Council flagged biosphere, where many of its meetings are held. Greetings, Tolec.
JP, good to chat with you again.
Excellent.
It's been a great evening.
It's great. I mean, it's a very, very lively atmosphere in the chat room. Now, I know that you have a specific agenda for this second hour, but there's one of our audience who's almost exploding. Yeah, this is going to take a while because he's just gone offline.
Hi, JP. How are you?
Yeah, you're back, yeah? Yes.
Yes. Yep.
Good. Sorry. Yes, I was just going to say that there's a member of our audience who's who's kind of champing at the bit here, and she'd really like to know the answer to this question. Now, it's actually a personal question about you, and I don't know if you're willing to answer it, but you can refuse if you like. But JP, could you ask Tolec if he has had a lifelong interest in UFOs and an interest in being a public figure in this arena? Or working in this arena prior to this?
I'm going to repeat the question the way I think I heard it. Is she asking if I've had a lifetime interest in UFOs?
Yeah.
And have I always been interested in being a public figure? Is that...
In this particular arena, like to be a spokesman for an extragalactic council, you know?
Oh, okay. Now, all right. I'll try to keep this answer concise. I had a normal childhood, nothing unusual. I played some sports. I played tennis. Just a normal high school life. Like a lot of guys, I had an interest in science fiction. Watched Star Trek as a kid. In my 30s, in my early 30s. When I moved to Tucson, Arizona, long story short is, I found my way to what was known as a MUFON meeting. And after listening to a MUFON meeting on one, I spoke with the speaker and said, "Hey, Roger, I got a whole bunch of questions." And he looked at me with very kind eyes, and he shook my hand, and he said, "Well, how about if we get together for coffee sometime?" I said, okay, sounds good. I've since established a friendship with this man, but that's quite honestly, that's the only point in my life that I had any interest in quote-unquote UFOs. I had no interest or prior knowledge other than I watched some science fiction like Star Trek. I read Heinlein, Bradbury, and Asimov, science fiction writers. But up until that moment in my really early 30s, I had never had any interest or knowing UFO context. Now keep in mind that one summer later in August, that was the moment of my 1993 contact. Now, as to being a public speaker like I'm doing and I'll continue to do, absolutely not. If you had asked me 2 years ago, hey, Tolec, what are you going to be doing in a couple years? I go, well, I'll be a partner in our company's firm, and I'm a chief operating officer, and I'll be doing what I'm doing, and yeah, this stuff is fascinating, but I got a life to live. That would have been my answer.
Yeah.
It's a different answer today. Today, I'm not only going to be doing more radio shows, but I will start speaking publicly in front of people, quite a bit actually around the globe. And it's because I feel a great responsibility to this information, both in terms of my heart and my soul. And I believe that people have a right to information so that they can prepare for what's coming in all aspects. And that's, I can always jump back into the business world in the future if that's going to come, but I'm going to be doing this full time for the foreseeable future. And that's my full answer.
Great, thank you. Now listen, Tolec, we got a slight bit of interference on this Skype call. So what I want to do is, number one, you sent me a whole bunch of wonderful tracks, and we're not going to have much chance to play them. So I'm going to use this excuse that I need to reconnect with you on Skype. So I'm going to play one of those lovely tracks, and I think the one that's called "Memory of Earth Mother" is the one we should do. Do you agree?
Yes, a good one.
Okay, so this is who's the artist who makes these?
This one is probably Carlos Nakai, who's a Native American flutist, very famous around the globe.
Okay, so everybody take a sip of your tea and sit back, and I'll just sort out the connection. And this is Memory of Earth Mother. And welcome back. And that was a very beautiful piece called Memory of Earth Mother by Carlos, what was his name? Tolec?
Nakai.
Nakai. Carlos Nakai. Thank you very much.
Carlos Nakai.
Excellent.
Right.
Excellent. So this is hour 2, which we have a different flavour for, and I think the native flute had a very there goes there's Skype as well. Let's see if Skype's going to come back for us automatically. It's been playing us up a little bit this week, tonight, but we'll keep going. We'll just get back to it. So, yes. Let's see. Are you back there, Tolec? No, we've got to wait for that little boop. So, damn. Hang on, let's just play a... no, he's back there. It's not there. So, I'm just going to... Up. We may have him back here. We know. Okay. There we go. Right. Okay. Right. Okay.
Technology.
Yeah, it's great, isn't it? So here we have a different tack, and we're going to talk about, or rather, you are going to talk about the ancient history of certain nations. Let's put it that way. So, over to you, Tolec. Yeah. Thank you.
Okay. I want to provide some foundation before I begin the story. And the foundational information is this. Of the 5 people I communicate with, one of them, his name is Danka Huene. That is his full name. And it's spelled Tanka. Danka. Heneh. He is originally from the planet Dakota, which is in the Tegeta star system, which is in the Pleiades. And he is the star ambassador of planet Dakota to the Andromeda Council, and he's also the star ambassador as well, if you will, to the Native American people west of the Mississippi River, especially to the people of the Dakota, Lakota, and Nakota people. Now, I'm going to tell that story of how those people became who they are today by virtue of the migration of some of the people from Dakota to Earth and 2 other planets. First thing I'll do is I'll tell everybody about the planet Dakota itself. It has 9 continents. Each is a country. The continents' names are Valtra, Betra, Vulcana, Tahihua, Petriana, Altaterra, Piayara, Vitrani. Dakota has 2 moons. They are Thunkaway and Tishkani. Thunkaway is the bigger of the 2. I told you that Dakota revolves around the star Tegeta in the Pleiades constellation, and there are 3 other planets revolving around the star. They are Era, Vela, and Pyra. And unlike some of the history with some of the people from the Pleiades and the planet Earth, those people specifically from the Pleiades have been from Era, typically. And there's been lots of, if you will, karma between those folks from Era and Earth. That's not the case with the people from Dakota. The symbol for the planet of Dakota is a medicine wheel. And the symbol shown on all Dakota ships, whether they're large, like motherships, or whether they're spacecraft, is the infinity symbol. And that's the information that's, if you will, the backdrop for the planet Dakota itself. Now I'm going to share with all of you who are listening the story that Ambassador Tanka has told to me. And there's a lot here. It's about 15 minutes straight. And it's meant especially for the people of the Dakotas, the Dakota, Nakota, and Lakota, here in what they call Grandmother Turtle Nate Island. So here we go. And he says, Kodas, Suenkas. This is Danka Hoine, Star Ambassador of the planet Dakota, Andromeda Council Ambassador. You would know me as a Wichapi Oyate, a Tonkashina Tonkashila, a elder star person, a spirit grandfather. I have passed down to Tolec my knowledge of the leaving of some of our Dakota people from our world in the Tegeta star system, located in the Pleiades, our people's migration to Ina Maka, Mother Earth. So, Jay, before I continue, can you hear this okay?
Yeah, I've got a slight kind of ticking on the sound. That's people will hear that, but it's quite audible. You know, it's just slightly annoying. I wish it wasn't there.
Okay.
But it's just
I'm not doing anything but talking.
Yeah, no, it's something to do with the line between here and there. It's just buffering out. Okay.
Well, there's this big ocean. All right, so here, the departure of the Dakota people to planet Earth. At the time of the planned migration, our planet had about 2 billion people, and at that time, we had spoken with the High Council of Dakota, who had already approved the migration of some of our best volunteers who wished to go off planet to explore Mother Earth and assist people known as Lemurians. We had put together our best healers, engineers, exobiologists, xenobiologists, linguists, and cultural experts. These people are also the most emotionally and spiritually aware, adept, and mature of our people. They and some of our vegetable-eating animals were to be transported across space to the central spaceport of Lemuria on Earth. There were 200 men, women, and children joined together involved in this exodus aboard a large Dakota mothership bound for Lemuria. Once we received a transition from the Lemuria civilization to receive us, we were invited to join the Lemurians to assist them how to live and work more in harmony with nature on this beautiful virgin planet, Earth. It was our role to help train the Lemurian people to help bring about greater meditative techniques to foster more harmonious feelings among them. The Lemurians indicated a desire for this because there were certain Lemurian clans, some of which who chose to evolve at a slower pace, more in harmony with all of nature, and others who wanted to evolve faster along a more technological-oriented path. At that time, our Dakota people also went to 2 other Earth-like worlds. Taurus, as you would see it from your world, in the star system Aldebaran. There are 14 planets there. One of them is called Tahini, a beautiful blue planet about 10% larger than your planet Earth. About 5,000 of our people migrated to Tahini. These people today retain their normal Dakota size of about 7 feet tall on this new planet, Tahiti. The second Earth-like world can be found in the constellation Cassiopeia in the star system Shadar, and it has 12 planets. The planet we settled there is called Wanihi. It is colored deep purple. Now that's the color of the water, and various shades of pink, and it's about the size of Jupiter. And about 2,000 of our people migrated to Wanihi. These people today have evolved to be about 12 feet tall due to the size of this planet. Now this piece is important as well. This whole migration of our 200 people to Earth, the best of our 200 people to Earth, and our people to these other two planets happened about 100,000 years ago. Now I'm going to go back to the story of the migration of the Dakota people to Mother Earth and their arrival. When we arrived in Lemuria, the people of Lemuria were already telepathic, so there was no difficulty in communicating with them. However, we set up an educational school to teach ways of being in harmony with nature, to teach Dakota dialects to them in exchange for certain other Lemurian meditation methods, and for us to learn which kind of earth plants had exactly what kind of healing properties. We gave to the Lemurians some of the peaceful vegetarian animals which we brought to Earth with us, so that these animals could walk and eat and enjoy the lush green lands of Lemuria. We also began to show the Lemurians our community layout of circular patterns as to how to build earth-friendly structures of dome homes and pyramid gold-infused buildings. For our people, many families lived in this kind of communal setting with our own wise elders that were the overseers of our communities. Many of the Lemurians wanted to advance at a much quicker pace, but our people wanted to take their time. Our people wanted to see that the Lemurians had first instilled within themselves a better sense of balance and harmony, rather than advancement of proposed technology. For them to be more in tune with nature, to be one with all of life. Our people settled in their communities for years before they even thought of exploring to other parts of Mother Earth. They needed time to infuse themselves with Earth's unique vibrational fields, as it was different from our own planet of Dakota. And yet our people still maintained their communication with our homeworld of Dakota. They kept the Dakota High Council informed of their progress. After time, our Dakota mothership went back to our home planet after a period of 10 years, overseeing the Dakota population on Earth as they settled into a routine of a newly formed Earth life. Once the ship left, there was still communication with our planet, but over time the contact lessened to a minimum so as to let our people become an established part of Earth life. As more children came to our families, our Dakota elders on Earth continued to pass down the stories of where we came from in the Pleiades constellation, our sun Tegeta, our homeworld, Dakota. This section is called Earth Changes. Both the Dakota and Lemurian peoples lived side by side for many years, and many children came. Mother Earth was bountiful, and life was good. However, when the Lemurian continent began to start having a shift in its land masses, earthquakes and volcanic eruptions occurred, causing a great loss of land. By that time, there were about 1 billion, with a B, Lemurians and Dakota people in total. 500 million of these people did not survive because this landmass went underwater. The other half of the remaining 500 million, many decided to leave. The greater percentage decided to leave. And the Dakota people, alongside with the Lemurians, used their scout crafts that were brought to this planet to bring survivors to the new land that arose from the ocean floor. Many on both worlds, Earth and Dakota, were saddened by the loss of so many people. But they knew that their souls were spiritually attuned to the fourth density, the core origin essence of their lives, and therefore they remained calm when their bodies entered their natural death cycle, knowing that their spiritual guides, helpers, teachers, and key star people were there to help them. And they remained calm during this time by using an instant internal knowing, a quiet meditative state which caused their bodies to not feel anything, no pain involved, just transition to the next life. Many of the Dakota and Lemuria people then migrated from Lemuria and began to settle in new continents risen from the ocean floor. They settled off the east coast of that land you today call China, and the little islands that arose in these coastal waters. They also traveled to the west coast of Grandmother Turtle Island as well. This migration happened over some 50,000 years ago. During their experiences with the Lemurians, Dakota people did not intermarry with the people of Lemuria, but later chose to intermarry with the then indigenous people of Grandmother Turtle Island, sometime after the migration to this new land. These people were more simple people, closer to the land, the plants, the trees, the animals, water, wind, and sky. They were close to nature, being in harmony with all of life on earth. This new life, it was Washte. To the relative present, sometime around 2,500 years ago, the Dakota people started to spread out across the land and began to gather into various clans and tribes. At around 1,500 years ago, these people began to be known as the Dakota, Lakota, and Nakota with an N, as well as some others. And today, these same people are by blood and genetics the closest to us, your people, your forefathers, on Dakota. This is the story of the migration of the Dakota people, the story of their lives as they came to Ina Maka, Mother Earth, and Grandmother Turtle Island, as you call her. He closes by saying, know that this knowledge is for all the people, and very much so for the spiritual teachers, healers, and medicine men as they continue their quest to this day to inform others that harmony with nature, balance, respect, love for all, and focus on spiritual life. This is the right path, the divine way to live. Wo Dakota mikodas mi suen kas. And this is the story as it was provided to me by Ambassador Danka Tehewe, the Star Ambassador to the Dakota, Lakota, and Nakota people. And he's also the ambassador to all of the native peoples from the Mississippi River west here in this country. And he says that it's his hope that revealing the heritage of the Dakota people will give everyone a new understanding and a healing. It is called Wichapi Huacan, Wosidonaye, Star Sacred Knowledge. It is also Maka, Wichapi, Wichohan, Earth Star Knowledge, and has given much spiritual knowledge in a good way. It is Washte. And I'm going to share something that happened to me this morning. I had an inner vision, if you will, and I saw a powwow happening in the prairie plains area of the country, because I could see this golden grass. And this vision was that there's going to be a powwow of all three people, Dakota, Lakota, and Nakota, that will happen in the near future. And Ambassador Atanka will be there to meet with them, and there will be some other star people to prepare them and to prepare others about this transformation we on this planet are about to have, and about the future of Ina Maka, which is Mother Earth. That was the vision that I had this morning, and it was in the dream state. It was very clear, sort of one of those 3D Technicolor kind of experiences.
Nice.
And that's the whole story I came to know within about 2 to 3 months of this learning experience back to September of 2010 of this connection. And this is the first time that I've ever shared this story in total. And if there are any questions you have about any of this, I'll be happy to ask and or take questions from anybody that may be in your audience.
Anybody. There's more than 100 people around here. It's just incredible.
Well,
the questions are coming in.
I know this particular, this was so extensive, I had to read it because there was so much. This is a story of the people migrating from one world to 3 other worlds.
I think it's beautiful.
But it's more important about, if you will, the healing and the transition of these people on this planet and what's about to happen. So, having never had an opportunity to tell a story in full, I wanted to do it. It deserved an opportunity to be told. So, as they say, it is washte. It is good to tell this story.
Indeed.
So whoever that you'd like to include in this conversation, feel free to bring them in.
All right. Our friend has not turned up, but there are thousands of questions here. I just want to give you. There's some feedback as well. There was one question. You guys think the council chose Tolec because of the way he speaks, and other people say, I love the way he speaks. Soul plan. There's some people who are very interested. Obviously, there's people who are taking their time to accept or to digest this information.
And I will make this.
Oh, I've got a good. There's a good one here, right? Go on. Say what you say.
I was just going to say what I just read. This story that I just told, I will make available publicly, both on the Andromeda Council website, and I'll make it available to you for anybody that wants to read it.
Oh, lovely.
Because it's a story worth telling.
Oh, yes.
Yeah,
so,
for people that are interested, certainly.
So Blake, who always asks very, very good questions, intelligent bloke here, his question is, considering his connections, does he have any insight on the idea or teaching of Mitakuye Oyasin? Did I say that right? Mitakuye Oyasin.
Yes. Yes. Mitakuye Oyasin is it has a variety of meanings, but it begins with all my relations. That's the Lakota people. These words come from Lakota. So the first iteration is all my relations. And then you can, if you will, soften the translation, and it becomes we are all related. And the current meaning is we are all one. And people will see, certainly on the first page of the Andromeda Council website, the words Midakuye Oyasin, we are all one, because we are in fact an amalgam of many races from different parts of this universe, all living on this one little planet. And it's actually a miracle that we've gotten this far. We certainly have problems, but we're many people from many different planets, from different parts of the universe, that are all living on a single planet that have all been taught different theologies. We have different languages. We have different belief systems. We have different cultural beliefs. It's amazing that we get on as well as we do with all of this people on this one planet. But we all come from different places. The message there, Midakuye Oyasin, is we're all one people from one planet.
Yeah.
That's the message.
Yeah.
That's who we are today.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Yeah, thank you for that.
Thank you, yes. So, now, okay, so there's been a fellow who's been posting the same message several times, so he's obviously wanting to, well, anyway.
Yeah.
Hi,
Go
Tolec.
ahead.
I want to know if you know about Princess Nakamaru from Japan. She talks about the 3 days of darkness in December 22, 2012.
Okay, I can answer this question. It has two parts. I don't know of this person, this princess from Japan. I've never heard her name before. I don't know her.
Mm-hmm.
The second part of the answer is this is, what can be called a prophecy.
Mm-hmm.
And many, many prophecies that were made many, many years ago because of evolution simply don't hold true today. Mm-hmm. And I've been told categorically that the 3 days of darkness, as it's been described, is not going to happen. This event is not going to occur. And that's the commander of the Andromeda Council Biosphere, as well as Tonka, both shared this with me. It's going to be a non-event.
That's very, very interesting, actually, because I had a show on last week, and we were discussing all the different prophecies, and including the 3 days of darkness, and including my own take on it, of what it could possibly be a result of. But the really interesting thing is that the archive for this show was completely garbled. This thing normally records absolutely spot on, no problem, hi-fi, clarity, everything. And I started playing the archive, and it went... It was completely garbled, the whole tape. And it was like it was not meant to be. So, those of us who heard it... Because, actually, you're the second guest on Wolf Spirit Radio who said this. Last week we had Stuart Swerdlow on, who seems to have some quite deep connections in various... deep fingers in deep pies, let's put it that way. And...
Sure.
He was saying also, the 3 days it's a non-event. It's not going to happen. So that's all right. I got enough candles. I got some torches.
Yeah. But yeah, it's an old prophecy, and I mean, things just evolve. And what was true 4 months ago is certainly not true today. So there's certainly other more important events that are going to happen, and I'm just looking forward to those. So go ahead. What's next on the agenda?
More questions. All right. Okay, here's another one. When we transform to 4D, will it be a spontaneous transition, like overnight, or is it more of a subtle transition that one day you realize you're taller or thinner, the next day you feel healthier, then progressively your body turns crystalline? Also, in some of your talks and articles, you have used the word crystalline body when referring to 4D bodies. Does crystalline refer to silicone, which is supposed to... Oh, silicon, not silicone. That's what you pump up breasts with. But silicon, which is supposed to be the most common element in the universe and on planet Earth. Yes, it's as common as sand. Crystalline.
I've had this... I've had this question asked of me a number of times, and it has two parts, so I'll answer it that way. This planet, first of all, this solar system and this planet are currently being infused with more and more fourth-dimensional energy. So are we being affected? Are we evolving? Is consciousness changing? Yes, absolutely. Will the actual moment of transformation to becoming a higher dimensional person into the fourth dimension, will it happen, if you will, in the blink of an eye? The answer is yes. And I've asked this question to Tonka, to Tanya, the vice chairwoman, to the commander, at least 3 times, maybe 4, and the answer has always come back the same, which is you will continue to be infused with higher vibratory fourth-dimensional energy, but the moment in time that you change, that moment will be instantaneous. And essentially that moment in time, from everything they've told me, is the first week of January 2014. You have 2 years. Yeah, you have 2 years of change. 2012, 2013, 2014 January. That's the moment of change into a fourth-dimensional planet and a fourth-dimensional animals and fourth-dimensional people. I know that in terms of crystalline, since science isn't my strong suit, I'll tell you in the way that I understand it. Our 3D organic heavy, dense matter bodies will become, the cellular structure will have crystalline and molecular and cellular structure as a baseline. And our bodies will be much more energy, of energy, as compared to of mass. And as an example, we'll be much lighter, we'll be taller, we'll be, as an example, a 155 or 160 pound man would be 14, 15 pounds.
My God.
Yeah. Right.
Well, so I'll probably end up about like a little bit more than that, but that's pretty. I'm all right with that.
Yeah, and the women who've talked to me have said, "You mean we're going to be like 7 or 8 pounds?" They're like, "Yep." Oh, great! No more diets. I honestly, I'm my own natural essence of who I am. My stronger suit is history and English and philosophy, and I'm not as strong in the sciences. So I'm not a scientist, but I do know that the carbon 12 atoms that we have today, carbon is the basis of life. The carbon 12 is going to be shifting to carbon 7. And crystalline life form happens in that carbon 7 manifestation, as do the natural gifts and abilities of faster vibration, telepathy, telekinesis, teleportation. These are all manifestations of fourth dimensional life. Why do I know this? Because I've confirmed it with all 5 of the gang in my different conversations. I've asked them different times in different ways, and they're like, yeah, hammer us with questions. We can do 3, 4, 5 things at once. It's okay. We're either here in the command center or we're down in the park, but it's okay. We can do a lot at once. Don't worry about it. So fourth dimensional life is going to definitely be very different and much easier for all of us. That's the best answer I can give somebody. My apologies for not being a scientist, but that's my answer.
So the idea of this is a question that is raised because, and this is often a question that's leveled at let's call new agey types. I don't like to use labels, but the fluffy kind of end of things. Is that there'll be no more conflict, there'll be no more challenge, and we're all going to ascend, and everything's going to be fine, and we're all going to be playing harps in heaven, essentially. So how does that square with an evolution where you do need a bit of challenge to get going? Because personally, I'm quite lazy. I'm great in an emergency. I'm really good in an emergency. I have to say, if you're ever in an emergency and I'm around, I'm very good. But I'd rather do nothing most of the day.
That's funny. Boy, I tell you talk about raw honesty. Here's what I've learned, and this is the story that they've consistently, my contacts have consistently told me.
We're losing you a bit.
If you're standing...
Yeah, go.
Okay. I'll repeat myself.
Yeah, please.
This is the story that my contacts have consistently and collectively told me. If an Earth person is standing on Earth, or laying or sitting, whatever they're doing, the first week of January 2014, they're going to become fourth dimensional. This is about an energetic, vibratory event. This is about this solar system and this planet evolving. That's the deal. Will everyone become higher dimensional, either low fourth or mid fourth dimensional beings? The answer is no. And the answer is no because there are going to be some people who will just not want to become fourth dimensional people. They're going to have their own personal reasons, whether they be it an attachment to this kind of life, whatever the reasons are, including maybe the fact that internally, at some level, they know that they need more lessons, more education. They need more seasoning. There'll be an option for people who want to remain third-dimensional people. For people who want to become fourth-dimensional, other than quieting yourself and turning off the negative news on television and spending more time in nature and going inside and being reflective, being good, kind people, quite honestly, there's not much else that you need to do. Stay on the planet, love yourself, take care of your family, make good common sense decisions, be kind to your friends and your family members, and enjoy the ride. Be as careful as possible, but enjoy the ride on the way to becoming a fourth-dimensional world and fourth-dimensional people. That's the story that's been told to me over and over again.
Great. And in terms of the ride, we hear Bill Hicks, enjoy the ride, it goes up, and we are... Well, actually, when I kind of picture the next 2 years, it's interesting you say 2014. When I picture the next 2 years, 2012, 2013, I see instead of a kind of chaotic thing that's going to kind of get worse and worse, I see it's almost like a ramp, like a bell curve, and the top of the curve. It's like a roller coaster where you're going up and then you're going to slide down again. But the top of that curve, in terms of energy input into the planet, that's what I see as December the 21st. The point of the top of the curve, not any day that is suddenly everything's going to change, but the top of the point when the energy is going to reach its maximum, and that will presumably finish off the last of the regressives. From what that input of energy is that will be too much. Everything that can't handle it will pop by that point. Is that kind of a good take on it?
I think that's a good analogy. I have a really good sense, and it's my expectation that in terms of quote unquote the regressives, if in this case regressive extraterrestrials, Draco and Hydra reptilians, Greys, the Grey robots, if you will, as well. Kind of automatons.
Yeah, what do they call them? Biological robots. Yeah.
Yeah. They will be taken care of and pretty much cleaned out, removed, taken off of, shut down. I want to say by springtime, North America. I don't have an exact date, but somewhere around the springtime, they'll be wrapping up the cleaning up of the last underground and undersea bases. There are other groups that have, of course, other agendas. And again, I would suggest, I think like I did in the last show, for people to listen very closely to what other groups are saying. Run this information through not only your head, but more importantly through your heart. Does this information come from a place of love? Is this information from a place of kindness? Will it be good for myself and my family? Those are the filters you should use, that I would recommend anybody use, in determining what's good for people, in terms of what information is coming in from people like me or anybody else that's learning what they're learning. But I think that you're right in terms of the energy sort of peaking, because it is very much a bell curve. You've got all of 2012 of changes, of evolution, sort of peaks at the end of 12, all of 2013, and the moment of changes, the first week of 2014. So that time frame makes a lot of sense. That's very consistent with what you're saying.
Yeah, that's just my feeling about it.
Yeah.
So that's great. So that's a good lead in. All right. So let's so that's great. There's another one. There we go. All right. Yeah. All right. So this is from Hollydahl 777. As we are coming to the point of great change, the secrets that have been kept are now being released. One of these secrets I have come across is about alchemy and the philosopher's stone. which is a powder, red, white, da-da-da. Sorry, it's very long, and we've got a few minutes left. Turn in... Right, okay. Do you know anything about this that you know personally or by what the Andromeda Council has told you?
What is the core piece of information?
The core question is, have you heard of the Philosopher's Stone, which is a powder, which can heal the sick, reverse aging, elixir of life, nectar,
I haven't, no.
No.
I heard of some guy years ago, back in the really, really early 90s, like 91, 92, had some stuff called ORMs, but that's the last time I heard of anything like this.
Yes.
And that's certainly, the people on the council haven't said anything to me about it, no.
Right, so this is nothing to do with the contents of the blue pill that you took those years ago.
Nothing at all. No,
right.
No, that simply changes the vibration. That's
right.
what that pill does.
Yeah. Well, this is what this stuff is supposed to do, white powder gold. Anyway, so there we go. Right, okay, and here's a question that's very close to my heart. Has the Andromedan Council said anything, or have you asked them anything, about orgonite?
I'm sorry, about what?
Do you know what orgonite is?
I've heard about the word orgon relative to energy in clouds, and that's as much as I know.
All right. Okay. It's chi. It's the same as chi, and an orgonite is a crystalline matrix. But we'll discuss that another thing. So I'm going to just scoot through. Oh yeah, free energy devices such as magnetic energy devices, and how we can all build one. So have the Andromedans given you any like a physics lesson or practical devices that you can make yourself in your own home that you can generate energy with, or anything like that? Did they ever talk about it?
Yeah, they haven't, but I can tell you that I've had at least some brief discussions with them about the kind of technologies we'll be using that they'll be happy to share with us once we become fourth-dimensional people in a fourth-dimensional world. And that includes many technologies based on crystal power. We're going to be crystalline-based planet and crystalline-based people, and there are crystal energy generators that I know will be made available for the protection of homes and cities and the planet. There's going to be all sorts of crystal technology that will be made available that I'm aware of.
Excellent. Well, orgonite really is the beginning of that. It draws in and then emits a purified flow of chi, of life energy. That's the idea, anyway. Okay, can Tolec comment about if there's any dietary requirements in its upliftment process that we could need to undertake? Thanks. This is from Earthling.
I'm sorry, if there's what process?
Dietary requirements. I mean, I think he's talking about, shall we stop eating animals and things like that, or is it cool to just carry on with food that you feel like eating?
Boy, it's funny. In terms of any conversations that I've had with my Andromedan Council contacts about food, they've never said anything to me about dietary changes.
Yeah, and I think it's...
We've just never discussed it. People can choose to change and evolve their heart and their spirit based on the kind of changes they want to make in their lives. And people can really only start to make those changes once they start turning off the noise, like the television at NewsHour and all of the negative press and stories that's dumped on people every single day. And there are other examples of noise, but the best advice I would give to people if they want to evolve is slow down, take quiet time for yourselves. Really do this. Go out into nature. Sit by a pond or a lake for 10 minutes or an hour if you've got the time. Go take a walk in the woods. Stand by a river and listen to the sound of the river, of the babbling of a brook. Hike up a hill and listen to the wind blow through the trees. That's how everything they've told me is That's how all of us can get in touch with Wankandanka, who is the great mystery, the great spirit. Whether you call it Source, One, Creator, it's all the same. This is the entity that created life from the beginning, and all of us, we people, are all part of this great thing called Creator or creation. So you can only really get in touch with that if you take quiet time and quiet the noise that's coming into your life. They told that to me over and over again, and I listen.
Excellent.
Believe me, I do. I do these things that they recommend.
Tolec,
Absolutely.
we have 3 minutes. Okay. Well, actually, 2 minutes.
Yeah.
With the theme tune. So, I have one last question, and I'm actually quite interested in it. I actually really want to know what they dress like. This is Achilles. He sends, I really want to know what they dress like. No one ever describes that. So could you give a brief overview of Andromedan fashion or Andromedan Council fashion?
Well, there's a bunch of information I can share with you at another time.
Yeah.
But the first part of the answer is what I've seen is what looks like a one-piece outfit. You know, sort of head to toe, and there is an emblem over, like, close to the left shoulder, and the emblem, the patch, if you will, is the same blue-colored emblem of the Andromeda Council, which people can see on the Andromeda Council website. It's basically, of course, it's in the round, and there are 12 dots, which represent the 12 worlds that are part of the Andromeda Council. Inherent in this answer is the fact that these people, my friends, these contacts, they're human. They may be fourth-dimensional human, but they're human.
Yeah.
Tonka, the ambassador, looks just like you think he would look. He looks like a wise, deep, knowledgeable, calm Native American elder. That's just what he looks like. The commander, he looks like a commander of a starship. He has that sort of...
As you'd imagine.
Bearing.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's got this bearing about him. Vice Chairwoman Tanya, she's... they're all tall, but she's got blonde hair and like aqua blue-green eyes. Very pretty woman. Baltar, the head of defense for all the biospheres. He's very Native American looking, good looking, very good looking man by any measure. So they're all human.
Excellent.
They just vibrate in the next dimension up from us. I hope that answers your question.
It does. And for the now, I hope you'll be back one day to, like, maybe more days, more time, as they say. Thank you very much. I'd like to thank everybody for tuning in. This will be available on the archives pretty soon. It'll also be repeated on the United We Strike website. Do connect on the Wolf Spirit Radio website. You'll see the link there in the news page. And tune in later on. This show, actually, if I'm going to be streaming, the show will be repeated again on this stream. So you can just stay here. Thank you very much, and good night.
Thank you.